Well, here we are. We've reached the end of yet another year, and we've looked at a lot of hardware and tech on the channel throughout 2019. But if I had to pick just 5 things that were my absolute favorite, this would be them. Coming in at number 5, we have the Rivo PCI Express Dual M.2 adapter card. This inexpensive little card allows you to add an NVMe SSD and a SATA SSD to pretty much any computer with an open PCI Express x4, x8, or x16 slot. This little thing is awesome because there's not a lot of motherboards out there with a ton of M.2 slots. You might just get 2 or 3, and that's on brand new motherboards going into 2020. That might be okay for some, but for others, you might be looking for more. And this adapter is a fantastic option for those people. It basically allows you to get full speed NVMe and SATA for just $15 US on basically any computer. At number 4, we have the Scythe Fuma 2 Dual Tower Heat Pipe CPU Cooler. This is an air cooler with serious performance. It's able to cool a stock and overclocked Core i9 9900K without a problem. And the most impressive part about the Fuma 2 is that even with the fans cranked all the way up to their maximum RPM, it adds very little overall noise to your system. It also uses a unique asymmetrical design that essentially just offsets the cooling towers in order to maximize RAM compatibility. The result is a cooler that's easy to install and can clear super tall memory modules. And it's also pretty neat because it doesn't obstruct the view of nice RGB RAM. So if you're spending money on RGB memory and you like air coolers, the Fuma 2 is definitely one to look at. You can pick one of these guys up for just $60 US. Number 3 is the Corsair Virtuoso SE wireless gaming headset. Believe me when I say that this is one amazing wireless headset. And not just in terms of audio and microphone performance, but also because of its awesome build quality and super attractive aesthetics. Corsair chose to complete the Virtuoso SE with a premium gunmetal gray aluminum finish with a unique perforated RGB lighting system that you can control through their iQ software. The result is a headset that pretty much checks all of the boxes that gamers should be looking for. The only downside with the Virtuoso SE is the price. At just over $200 US, this is not a cheap headset. But keep an eye out for deals because they do go on sale from time to time. Coming in at number 2 is the Cooler Master MM710 Ultralight Gaming Mouse. At first glance, the MM710 doesn't seem all that impressive with its lack of RGB lighting and overall minimalist design. But at just 53 grams, it's insanely lightweight. And it turns out that the crazy lightweight and low friction feet work together to allow very fast and ultra precise mouse movements that I actually believe helps with aiming in first-person shooter games. While I was testing the MM710, I pretty quickly realized that this mouse was absolutely amazing. I've completely switched to it. I don't use any other mouse for gaming anymore. Ultralight is the way to go, and the MM710 is a solid option at just $50 US. And claiming the number 1 spot is the entire AMD Ryzen 3rd generation CPUs. With the Ryzen 3000 series of CPUs, AMD finally managed to close that gap with Intel in terms of single core performance, which in itself is pretty impressive. But then they went on and did their AMD thing where they loaded up a whole bunch of cores onto their CPUs to produce outstanding levels of multi-core performance across their entire product stack. Then they went on to change the face of mainstream computing with the Ryzen 9 3950X, a 16-core, 32-thread CPU for the mainstream socket AM4 platform. This flagship part is not cheap, at about $750 US if you can even find one because supply is very limited. But it's currently the most powerful mainstream CPU in the world. And this is actually a win for all consumers because it forced Intel to respond with deep price cuts. Their new 10th generation IN desktop parts offer 18 cores, just like the previous generation. The difference, however, is that this generation costs half as much. They pushed their 18 core part down from almost $2,000 to the $1,000 price mark, which is pretty awesome. It's a win-win for everybody. Competition is always good and welcomed. So now we just need someone to challenge NVIDIA in the high performance top tier GPU market to force some of those top tier products down to more reasonable prices. And by the way, it's not gonna be Intel with their new Xe graphics. So if you're betting on that, I have a feeling that's not gonna turn out. It's gonna be AMD. With their newfound cash flow coming in from the success of the Ryzen 3rd generation, hopefully they'll infuse some of that into R&D over in the graphics department and pump out some seriously high-end cards to put some pressure on NVIDIA. Once again, that would be a win for everyone. And I'm really looking forward to seeing that, hopefully in 2020. Alright guys, in the description below, there are links to all of the hardware and accessories that we just covered. Have an amazing remainder of 2019 and subscribe for an even more amazing 2020. Happy New Year, and we'll see you soon.